Today's video is part of a series of videos where I create all of the different types of charts we have in Excel. For today's video, we're going to be working on the area chart, and we are just going to create the basic area chart as well as the other variants of the area charts, and then in some cases just modify them slightly. So we just scroll through all of the charts we're going to create in this one. And yeah, that's it. If you want to see the other parts of this series where I create all of the other charts, you can check out the description box below for the link to the course playlist or the links to the other videos. Alright, let's get started. I currently have my dataset open. The link to this dataset will be in the description box below. When you download this dataset, it's going to be in CSV format. I would suggest that you save a copy as an Excel workbook format. I'm going to insert the table to begin, so go over to insert table, and Excel automatically highlights the entire information or the entire data on our sheet. So I'm just going to select OK, and we've created our table. The name of this table is table 1. So when I want to create my pivot table and I want to reference it, I'll just reference it by name. Whatever your table name is, that's what you use. So in case you've created multiple tables in the same file, the table name may change, or you may change the table name and use whatever name you changed it to. I'm going to create a new sheet, select any cell, go to insert, pivot table, and I'm going to reference my table, which is table 1, click on OK, and we have our pivot table. We're going to grab month. Since we're working with line charts, we're dealing with dates, so specifically we're just going to use only month, but see, we'll use month and then we'll just be changing values. Grab month, bring month to rows, and we are going to use revenue. Revenue is going to go to values. Select this entire data set using Ctrl Shift, and then I selected the down key. I'm going to go over to the home tab, change the format to dollars. Next up, I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go over to recommended charts, area charts. If you want to watch the other videos in this series where I create the other types of charts in Excel, you can either click on the playlist of video on screen right now, or you could check the description box below for the links to the playlist or the individual videos. So we are working on the area chart, and we're going to work on this first option, and I'm just going to create this very simple basic area chart, and I'm just going to click on OK, and we have our first chart. We're not going to make any real changes to this one. We're just going to leave the default as it is, but as we go forward, we'll just try and make some modifications where we can. I'm going to right click here, hide all field buttons on chart. I'm going to select the legend and delete it. Select the chart title, and I'm going to change it to revenue trend. And as for the sheet name, we can rename it as revenue trend also. All right, so we can just take a moment. There are some default options you can use if you want. So I'm going to come over to the design tab here, or you could also use this print brush icon and you can choose some design styles. So if I just hover over it, you can see some default options you can choose from. So if any of these ones appeal to you, you can use them. And to format your chart title, there are some options here that you can also use here. So it's the same thing. You can either do that. Sometimes you just need to click and delete if you want to remove something or you want to add something. It's going to be a lot to try and go through all of them, but we'll try and, like, how would I say this, we'll just look at some items. Let's so I'm already on this chart. If you want to get this format options, just right click format chart area, and then you're going to get this. So for the fill, you can just simply change the color. It's set to automatic. Automatic is that it's just going to change the fill to white. You can select no fill, and then your chart is going to become transparent. Solid fill, and it's just going to use a color, maybe the last color you use, or based on the default color, it's just going to pick a color, and you can change the color here to whatever you want, and also change the transparency. So if the fill is solid and I increase the transparency to this, so we have this chart with this fill and also that transparency. I'm going to select gradient fill next. I'm not going to change anything. I just want to show you that it's an option. we have picture and texture fill, and you have different textures you can choose from, say something like this or this. Let's select that wood texture. You also have this, so if you want to use one of those textures or you want to use an image, you can insert an image here. I'm not going to do that. Next is pattern fill. You can use any of these options. Once again, I'm not going to, I could just click on it so you can see what it looks like, and you can play around with all of these settings and just pick what works for you. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're going to leave it at automatic, and we're going to leave it here, and we'll create our next area chart so that we can also explore other options. I'm going to create a new sheet. You can create all of your pivot tables and charts in one sheet, but I prefer it this way so that everything is neat and tidy. I'm going to insert a pivot table, and I'm going to reference the table, which is table 1. Whatever your table name is, just reference your table for your pivot table. We're going to once again grab months, bring months to rows, and we are going to grab profit, and profit is going to go to values. I'm going to select everything here using Ctrl Shift and the down key, go over to home, and I'm going to change this to dollars. Select anywhere, insert recommended charts. We're going to select the area chart. Once again, we're still going to create this first option, just the area. I'm going to right click on this, hide all field buttons on charts, and I'm going to select the title, and I'm going to make this profit trend. I'm going to copy this chart title, and I'm going to use it to rename the it would seem I didn't copy it properly. I'll just paste and use it to rename our sheet also. I'm going to select this legend. I'm going to delete it. We're going to select this axis, and we're also going to delete it, and I'm going to select this line, delete also. Let's come over to this chart element, and we are going to add data labels. I'm going to click on this arrow here, and then we can either choose data callouts, but I don't want to do that. I'll just go over to more options, and over here in the label options, what I want is not the series name, the category name. So we have the month and the value. So it's difficult to see right now. Maybe I could just increase the width. Still, it's going to be difficult to see. I'm just going to select it once more, come over to the label options, expand it. I'm going to scroll down and just make sure that this show leader lines is going to be selected. So I'm going to grab January and bring it here, and now you see that January is attached to it. If this was how do I explain this? If this was let's say a column chart or a bar chart or a pie chart, there are often options where you can decide where the data labels will go, but you can't really do that. Maybe if you use the data callouts, it will be better, but this one you sort of have to move it manually, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to grab February and bring it, let's see, down here, and March, I want to make sure I'm grabbing just March, bring it just a little bit to the top like this. April, no, that's May. I'm going to grab April, bring it here. May, I'm just trying to make sure I grab the right one. Let me bring May here. We have June, I'm going to bring June here. July, let's bring July around here, maybe just a little bit more. August is next. I'm going to bring August to the top like this. September, let me bring September here. October, let me bring it down. November is going to be, let's see here, because I want to create space for December, and I'm going to bring it here. Let me move November so that this line will also move out of the way. So we also don't need this since we already have the month. I'm going to select that axis, and I'm going to delete it. Now we have all of these items just outside. So I just want to sort of do something different with our data, so you can see, you know, a different way to try something out if this is something you're interested in. Let's change the feel of this. So with Excel, typically just click something and see if you can format it. Whatever format options exist, just try clicking things around and see what changes. So I can actually change the fill to, let's use a pattern fill. I'm going to select pattern fill, and by default Excel, let me use this one. So we can use either this or this. This is more like a brick wall, I think. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to use this one. So for the foreground, it's this yellow color here, orange. Oh, not yellow, orange. For the background, it's white. Let me change the background color to something else. Let me say this, and we have this sort of greenish hue behind the background. We can also add a border to this shape. So it's essentially a shape. Well, technically I'm going to add a solid line, and it's using this orange color. For me, you can use something different if you want. I'm just using it to make things more interesting, you know. I'm going to select the entire chart area, and over in the home tab, I want to change the color of the text. So you can also come over here to text options and change the color of the text, but I prefer using this home tab. So I'm going to select this, and I'm going to click on black again, and then our text is going to become much darker. Anyway, this is it for the profit trend. I know that it looks kind of messy, or but anyway, I just wanted to show you something really interesting. Let's move on to the next one. I'm going to create a new worksheet, and we are going to start with a pivot table, insert pivot table, and I'm going to reference my table 1. Let's now add our fields. So I'm going to grab months, add that to rows. We're going to grab products category, add that to column, and we're going to use units sold for this in values. Select anywhere on your sheets, and I'm going to go over to recommended charts, and we are going to use the area chart. We're going to still select this first option, and I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to right click here, hide all fill buttons on chart, and I'm going to add a chart title. I'm going to select this, and this is going to be units sold trend. And I'm just going to, I want to rename this. This is just going to be units sold. Now, the issue with having a chart like this is that you can't really see what's going on. So maybe we can just format it a bit. Let's, let me see, I'm just going to select this line. One of the things we didn't look at earlier was line. So I'll just right click, format chart area, and then I can select the line. So I removed the line in the previous one, I think. Oh, wait, did I? Okay, yes, I did. We didn't really look at lines. You can apply these settings to the border of your chart also, but I just want to show you some settings. So you can use a solid line automatically. Excel will use this really light gray color, so you can use a solid line where it has this fill. We just picked one of the options I use. We have the gradient line, and then we have the automatic, which you use. We can change the line type. Say I wanted to increase the width, and we are going to have this, so it's 1.75, and you see that it has changed to a solid line. So the moment you modify it, it changes to a solid line. And let me say I wanted to change the type of line. So we have the compound type. If I select this one, you can't really, maybe I can increase it so you can see the line. So it's 3.75. Really doesn't matter, I just want to demonstrate. Or we could use this, or let me use this. Let's just leave it at that one. Then the dash type, you can either select if you want it to be this or this, or let me just pick one that I'd like. Let me see this one. So let's just use this one. The cap type has to do with this edge. So if you see this edge now, it's flat. We can use round, and you see that the edges of these dashes have rounded corners, just like that. I can also increase this so I will have a larger chart area. So let's format this series, the shaded areas. We changed the fill of the other one to a pattern fill. So let's just change the colors of this one. I'm going to change the color of this to, let's say, this orange color. That's the one at the back, accessories. So the next one is electronics, and one thing you notice that we can't really tell what's behind. So we can't, the only one we can actually see is this. So one of the ways you can fix this is to change the opacity. I'm just going to, let me select this. Let me change it to that actual green color that we have there, and I'm going to select this one. I'm going to change it to this purple color. Let's select this, and we can change the transparency. Let's try 20%, and then you can see behind it now. We can now see the area of the first one, well, parts of it, but we can't see in between this one. So we can make this one also 20%, and now we can see part of it. Let's make it a bit more, 30. I think let's try again, 40 looks okay. So we can see the area of the one behind it. Let's increase the transparency of this one to, let's see how 40 will work for this one, and 40 seems to be, let me make it 30. So the one behind this one is 40%, this one is 30%, and that way you can still see the area of this one, the one behind as accessories. We can see this one, and we can also see this one as well. Anyway, that is it for this area chart that has multiple categories in it. Let's now move on to the next chart type. We're not going to do much in terms of formatting. We're just going to create the chart and then move on. Let's now create a new worksheet, and I'm going to select any cell, insert pivot table, and I'm going to reference my table, which is table 1. Click on OK. Let's now grab month, again add it to rows, and we are going to use region next for where is it, region for columns, and we are going to grab revenue and add revenue to values. I'm going to select all of this data here using Control Shift, my right key and my down key, and I'm going to go to home, and I'm going to change this to dollars, the format of these numbers to dollars. Go over to insert recommended charts. We're going to use an area chart, and we're going to use this one, the stacked area chart. I'm going to click on OK, and this is what we have. Now what a stacked area chart does is it's taking the total and then showing how much each category contributes to the total. So if I just move my chart a little bit over here, for January it's around 509, and you can see our chart starts around 509. For February it's 651, and here you can see it's around 51. Here's almost 700 to 692. So all what you are seeing is the total for each month, and you're seeing how each region contributed to the total revenue for the entire year. I'm going to right click here, hide all field buttons on charts, and I'm going to add a chart title. I'm going to select all of this, and this is going to be revenue by region. I'm going to select the entire title, and I'm going to use it to rename my sheets like that. So if you want to change the colors or numbers, you could reduce the number of decimal places. I'm going to right click, format axis, and here in the axis options I could just reduce this, go over to number, select decimal places, make it 0, and now you have 0 decimal places. I'm just going to extend it. If you want to change the color of this chart or change any other elements, you can do that. I'm just going to go to design, let's see, change colors, and we can have these different color options, and you can just choose from any of them. I could probably, let me say, select this one. So if you want to change them individually, you can select this one. Let me pick something different, and I'll just select that color. so that way you can actually modify each one of them. And you can also play around with let's see, for the fill, let's use pattern. Let's say this one has this pattern. Let's pick a different pattern for the next one. Let me say I choose this, I select this, let me pick a different, let me use not fill, I want to use pattern. I'm going to pick a different pattern, say this checkered pattern, and you could even change to a different color, but I'll just use patterns, pattern fill. I'm going to come back to it once again. I just want to pick my patterns first. Oh, this one looks too similar. Let's see. All right, or maybe, all right, let's use that. So for this one, this is the pattern I'm using, this first one, dotted 5%. Let me see what happens. Okay, let me use dotted 10%. We have this, and I'm going to say dotted 90%. This is the position. You have this one. Let me see whether I'm trying to figure out which I think I prefer this one more. Let's change it to this one. We have played, and this one is diagonal stripes, dark upward. You can change the foreground. Let me say I want to change, okay, the foreground is blue. Let's say I want to change the foreground to something different. Let's pick this purple color, and now we are using, it's really not that different because the amount of dots we have is different. You can change things around, just play around with the shapes, patterns, and things like that, and you have your area chart. What I would just say is make sure that your chart is as readable, will I say as clear as possible, where at a glance your whoever is viewing your data, whatever you're visualizing, it's clear to the user. So this one, I could even add a border to it, since it just seems like it's I'm going to use solid line. That's too faint. Let me use the same purple color, or I could use the blue color. I know I used purple here. So now we have a border, and it makes it much more easier to see the differences between it. So once again, pick whatever works for you, but also make sure your chart is easy to read at a glance. I'm just doing this for demonstration purposes, but anyway, that is it for this particular one. Let's now move on to the next one. I'm going to create a new sheet and go over to insert pivot table, and I'm going to reference table 1. Let's use month. Once again, we're working with a line chart essentially, so it's an area chart, but it's basically a line chart with shaded areas. So we're continuing going to use a series being the month. I'm going to grab sales channel. Let me see if I can just sales channel. Sales channel goes to columns, and we are going to use profits for our values. I'm going to select all of this, insert recommended charts, area, and I'm going to use this one, 100% stacked area. Click on OK, and this is what we have. So our stacked area chart was just simply dealing with the value. So you have here, you have your items in currency in dollars, but here you are dealing with percentages, where it is showing you percentage contribution, similar to what you have with the pie chart. Just like doing the pie chart, to take 100% and then split it into the contribution by percentage. So this is what we have. So we have for January here, February, March, April, May, so on and so forth. You can play around with the settings for this. I'm not going to modify it too much. You can create more area charts if you want, but I think it will be just alright if I demonstrate like this. I'm going to rename this. This is profit trend by sales channel. I'm going to copy this title, and I'm going to rename my sheet to match the chart title. So I've already demonstrated you can use the same setting to use, select this or this or this, format it however you feel like. You can change things around and things, so on and so forth. But anyway, I'm going to leave it here. and we can move on to the next type of area charts. I'm going to create a new sheet and I'm going to insert a pivot table. So I'm going to reference table 1 and I'm going to select months, add it to rows. I'm going to grab customer segments, add that to columns, and then for values we're going to use revenue. I'm going to select all of this data, go over to the home tab, and I'm going to change this to dollars. Let's insert our chart. Go over to insert recommended charts, and I'm going to select area, and we are going to create the 3D area chart next, and I'm going to click on OK. And I'm just going to extend this. Let me maybe increase it just a little bit. I'm going to right click, hide out fill buttons, and I'm going to add a chart title. And this is revenue trend by customer segment. I'm going to copy that and I want to use it to change the name of this sheet. Didn't work, so I'll just make it, I'll remove trend, I'll just say revenue by customer segments. The title was too long. All right, this is essentially the 3D version of our area chart where we had multiple colors. So you can either create it with one value. See, if I remove customer segments and I do this, we're just going to have this one. I didn't want to create something with just one value. So if you remove that, you'll just essentially have one of this, but I'm going to undo that, and we have multiple categories or series in our charts for these 3 items. Just like we did with the other one, we can actually change the opacity of this so that we can view our chart items better. I'll select this center one or the middle one, and as usual you can change the fill. Once again, you can use gradients, picture, texture, pattern. We used pattern in the previous one, so I'll just leave it back at automatic. I just want to change it to this light pink color since I want to make it more legible so I'll be able to see it. So just like we did with the previous area charts, we have problems seeing what's going on. We can see this first one clearly, this second one sort of, the one behind it not so much. So we're just going to play around with the opacity or the transparency to make things easier to see. I'm going to select this one. Let's change the transparency. So I'm going to change the fill to solid fill, and I'll just change it to back to, let's use this blue color. I'm going to make the transparency, let's say 35%. 35% looks good. I'm going to select this one and say let's make it 40, and as you can see, we can see the one behind, this one, and this one. So just like we did with the other one, just changing the transparency will help you see what is on the other side. But anyway, that's it for this one. If you want to create other versions of this chart, you can, but that's it for this one. I'm just going to create another one. I'm not going to format this one, just in case you want to try it yourself. Insert pivot table, not pivot table, of course. Insert table 1. I'll insert the pivot table and reference table 1. Let's use, of course, we're going to grab month. Month is going to go to rows. I want to add more categories so that you see something that looks a bit more complicated. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to grab marketing channel, add that to columns, and we are going to use profits here in values. I'm going to change the format of these numbers to dollars. I'm going to select this, insert recommended charts, area charts, and we're going to use a 3D area, and you're going to have something that looks like this. I'm going to right click, hide out fill buttons on charts, and I'm going to add a chart title. The title for this chart is going to be profit by marketing channel. Oops, I didn't add channel. I'm going to copy the chart title so I can format the sheets, and I'm not going to change anything about this one. So what you're going to do for this is play around with the opacity of this one or the transparency of this chart, just like we did in the others, and see if you'll be able to see all of the details of all of these charts. So it should be a fun exercise for you to do. I'm going to create a new sheet, select any cell, insert pivot table, and I'm going to reference table 1, and I'm going to grab months, add months to rows. We're going to grab sales channel, add that to columns, and we're going to grab revenue, add revenue to values. I'm going to select all of these numbers, and I'm going to go over to the home tab, and I'm going to change this to dollars. I'm going to insert recommended charts, area, and this time we are going to use a 3D stacked area chart. I'm going to click on OK. So we have this. I'm just going to right click, hide all field buttons on charts, and I'm going to add a chart title. This chart title is revenue by sales channel. And I'm just going to leave it as it is. So once again, you can change the feel of the different sections. I didn't rename my chart title, so I'm just going to copy the title of the chart, and then I'm going to change the title of the sheet. Let's now create a new worksheet so we can create our next chart. I'm going to select any cell, insert a pivot table, and I'm going to reference table 1. Let's grab months, add months to rows. Next, we're going to grab states. I want this one to be, it's intentionally going to be a lot. That's fine. I'm going to grab more states and bring it to columns. Next, for value, we're going to use units sold. So I'm just going to bring units sold to values. I'm going to go over to insert recommended charts, area, and we are going to use a 3D stacked area chart. Click on OK. Once again, this is no different from a 2D area chart, like the 2D version, in terms of what it's doing. What we're saying is the total for each month, and then you're seeing how each state contributes. So we're seeing the contributions of Washington, then Texas, Pennsylvania, which is this blue one, Ohio, so on and so forth. So you can just see that. So some of the legends are missing because there's not enough space. Let's just right click, hide all field buttons on chart. Now we have more states. When I create a chart title, some of it's going to disappear. I'm just going to rename this. So this is going to be, what is it? Units sold by states. I wonder if we've done this one before. If we have, let me see. I'm going to copy the chart title. Okay, we haven't done one of that, so I can use the name. I'm just going to bring this up and then increase the height of this chart so we can see more of the states. Well, we can see all the states in this particular data set. So you can play around with the settings, the colors, whether you want to change the colors or things like that, you can. But for that, we are going to move on to the final one, which is going to be the 100%, I think it's 100% stacked area chart. Well, the 3D. Let's insert pivot table. This is going to be table 1 here. I'm going to grab months, of course, add that to rows. We are going to grab sales channel, add sales channel to columns, and for values, we're going to use profits. So I'm going to grab profits and add that to values. Select this, and I'm going to go to home. Let's change this to dollars. And I'm going to go over to insert recommended charts, area, and this is going to be the 3D 100% stacked area chart. That's a mouthful. I'm going to click on that, and as you can see, same thing with what you have with a typical stacked area chart. In this case, it's just 3D. Once again, I'll encourage you to try and figure out what settings you can use on this. You can also check out the default designs. Let me see, you can look at this, or maybe sometimes, maybe if you want to practice, you can try recreating some of the default designs and see how they achieved it. I'm just going to add a chart title to this. So this is profit by sales channel. I'm going to copy this chart title and I'm going to paste it here, and yeah, that's it. So that was just a quick rundown of the area chart type. We didn't do much in terms of formatting. I just wanted to keep things simple. But yeah, we are done with this particular tutorial. If you want to watch the other videos in this course series where we create the other chart types in Excel, you can either check the description box below to the link to the course playlist or the individual videos, or you could click on the video that is on screen right now or the playlist that is on screen right now so that you can watch all of those. Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe. You can also share a comment if you want. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.